Oh, hey, yeah, just playing around with a recurve. I haven't done this in a couple of years. It's been, well, since before the pandemic, I've actually gone out and shot this. This is my 45-pound recurve. I also have a nice, I think it's about 100-pound, maybe a little less than that, compound. Really nice. But I don't want to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this. Greetings, Dave here, DCBFX. It's Wednesday, it means it's video TV time. This is a story. I grew up, well, I was 67, so I really, formative years were the 80s. There's a lot of cool things that came out of the 80s. But because it was the 80s, guess what didn't exist, really? VCRs, DVDs, CDs, all that stuff didn't exist. Now, VCRs did to an extent. They were in the early 80s, and they were monsters, and they were just for watching. No one bought blank tapes to record things, or very rarely did people do that. It wasn't until, say, the mid 80s that became a little more ubiquitous. It was available for everyone to use. The reason I say that is there were certain things I tried to watch again and again and again, and I would always catch the last hour. Great example of this, Greatest American Hero, 1981. Huge superhero fan. At that point I was. Anyway, huge fan from the comics, and then this TV show comes, and I just saw the, basically the trailer saying, hey, it's going to do this and this, and had a vague idea when it was going to be coming on. Well, the night it was to premiere, my mother had just come home from vacation to Florida. My father was a surgeon, so he, didn't go. She was on her own, had some time. Her parents were down there as well, is what I remember. Came home, we went out and had a big celebratory dinner. Sorry, still fighting with this mouthpiece. So I only saw the second half. So I don't know how he got the costume. I don't know about this. I don't know why he lost the manual. I don't know any of these things. And then I missed the first half again. And again. Finally, I saw the whole thing. Like, right on, hey, this is great. I love it. And I did love that show. It ran for 3 years and I loved it. It was fantastic. This was also another casualty. This is The Archer. This is The Archer, Fugitive from the Empire. It also was called The Archer and the Sorceress. It's called a couple of different things depending on where you find it. This is something I made, it's a DVD I made myself. You can tell because it has an Apple DVD-R. I made a lot of DVDs in the 2000s. This movie I saw the last hour probably 20 times because it played late at night. So it started at 10 o'clock. I missed it. Oh, whoa! I love this. This is such a weird movie. This is a pilot. This was something they did it came out in April, I think April 12th, April something, 1981. It's a very big sword and sorcery movie. It is in the vein of, like, the reason it didn't take off, it doesn't make any sense, because at that time we had Excalibur, we had Dragon Slayer, all these things. This is in that same vein. It was a lot of fun. Well, for me, it was watching the second half. And it was, basically it's a story of Torrin of Malville. It's got Lane Caudle, it's got Belinda Bauer, Victor Campos. Those are the main characters. You go, Victor Campos, who's that? Watch anything in the last 40 years you've seen him? Oh, him. Belinda Bauer. Lane Caudle didn't do much. He ended up going back to soaps. He was on soaps for the better part of his career. Funny, he named his son Torrin after this character. Anyway, Torrin is a crown prince of Malville. His father is George Kennedy. Brackus, George Kennedy. I don't know what his thoughts were in his acting. Oman's blood! He was interesting. I wouldn't say terrible. He just was very different. He was, much like John Lithgow in Buckaroo Banzai, he probably was very full and do craft services because he chewed the scenery so badly while he was on set. Brackus is trying to bring all the people of Malville together against Gar and the snake people and all these things. And he gets killed, and his son Torin is framed for it. So Torin takes off with Mac, who is his mentor. Mac has a bow, what they call a heart bow, called Elb, which is bonded to Mac. Torin has always admired it and said, I'd love to do it. And Mac was like, you can't handle Elb, you can't do it. As they get away, they escape. Mac gets injured, so they do pass Elb over to him. This is all stuff I didn't see for the first 20 times I saw this movie. So this is happening. Eventually he hands it over, and then in the transfer of it, because it's a heart bow, he gets a mark on his chest saying it is his, and no one else can use the bow but him. And when he fires, it does probably the worst effect possible. I mentioned Dragon Slayer and Excalibur. Great effects, fantastic effects. This went the other way. So he would grab an arrow, twang, and it would hit something, and the whole thing would chroma key red. That was the effect. It really wasn't much to it, but it was pretty funny. And then Elb had extra power, so he was able, he forced a barge out by just using the power of Elb and send it out. This was a pilot. This was supposed to be a series that just didn't take off. I loved it. I thought it was great. I haven't watched this in a while. I may have to pop this in again soon. I just saw this in my DVD rack. And I thought, oh yeah, I got to talk about this because this is a gem. There's a great big long story, but they have to find Lazarus Saw, who is, he's a wizard, and he's been implicated in something. And it turns out he's not the bad guy he's made out to be. He's actually a good guy at the very end. And it left the ending of it very open to, let's go to series. Didn't quite take off. But I liked it, and as you can tell, I'm a bit of an archery nut. I do enjoy shooting. I have had the ability to do it for several years. I bought a bow years ago. I got some for my kids as well. My wife has one, and I ended up with a compound bow. I just always said I didn't want one, and I tried one. This is amazing. I bullseyed a bison. I have a local area I can shoot at. If it's foam bison, bullseyed it 3 out of 4 times at 75 yards. So yeah, I'm okay at it. Arrow was fun to watch because of that. I'm big into archery. So this is something that is hard to find. Very hard to find. There is a DVD release, I think. It's very vague on that. The DVDs you can find don't seem to be official, other than the PAL versions you can find, which are region 2, which you need a region-free DVD player to watch them, or do like me and bring them in and convert them from 25 point, to 29.97 frames per second down to 25. You can do that in your big programs like your Final Cuts and things like that. But there are, I think, some copies of the video floating around on the interwebs. It may even be on the archive.org. I haven't looked there yet. I found some cool things like Ferris Bueller, the TV show, and Danger Theater on archive.org. So that there are some things they are keeping around, which is kind of fun. But if you were into, I wouldn't say cheesy, but into early 80s sword and sorcery and kind of maybe it's going to be a TV show, maybe not kind of thing, check it out. The Archer is interesting. I did like it. And like I say, I saw the ending 20 times before I saw the opening. And once I did, I went, oh, that explains. Oh, okay, I get it now. I get it now. So there you go. A recommendation from me to you. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Before I do, I'd like to say something here just to my fans. If you made this far, thank you very much. I am trying to turn this into more of a not say a business, but more of an venture where I can make some money off doing this. I do get some money for ad revenues that YouTube is showing ads, but there's like super thanks, which is right down there. If you liked what I'm talking about, you can give me a super thanks, or you like one of my props, you can give me a super thanks. And I also have set up Patreon on my website, dcbfx.com. And if you want to be a patron, that would be awesome. You can help me do these things I'm trying to do. So I have equipment that I've added to this, and just sort of offset some of those things, and maybe get me to that next level on my 3D printing game by having a little bit extra fundage around to put into other things. Just something. I hate asking for that, much like I hate asking for subs. If you're not subbed, hey, I love you. Give me a sub. I don't like asking for it. I think these things should try and grow naturally, but don't ask, don't get, right? So that is today's video. I'm not sure what's going to happen on Friday, but that's today's video today on movies and DVDs and TV shows that I like that you may not have heard of. That I think is a very cool way to do Wednesdays. I think this could go really well because I watch a lot of stuff you guys like, what? So that's it for today. Everyone, have a great day. We'll talk to you all later.